Hey, it's time for another deep dive. We're going to take a close look at a back 1.5 somersault tuck. And here is our back 1.5 somersault tuck. This young man is 9, maybe 10 years old, diving at MLK in Silver Spring. And here's his back dive tuck. All right, so once again, this is not too shabby of a dive, especially for a 10-year-old boy, not too shabby at all. But there are definitely things that we can look at and improve on. Let's start from the beginning, as we like to do, and let's start with body alignment. How do we like this body alignment? I see a couple of areas. Number one, I think his heels are a little too low. Yeah. Number two, I see a fair bit of archiness in this body line, yeah, that we could flatten out with a little more abs in, shoulders over the toes, tailbone tucked under. I think that would make a big difference right out of the gate. Now, as he starts to move, we're going to see that his arms get a little flappy. He starts swinging his arms around all crazy. Not going to help him do a better dive, may cause him to lose his balance, so it's probably a decent thing to get rid of. Now, here comes a common issue with these back takeoffs. Look at the way that his hands are sliding in front of his body line on the way up. And what that's going to cause generally is a little bit of a body weight shift forward. Then they drop and pull their shoulders back right through there. So what we really want to do, what we really want to see from this young man after this last lift, we'd love to see that lift be a little more of a, sorry, that's a disaster, a little more of a straight line through his body instead of just a little bit piked, a little bit off. But then we've got to watch hip joint versus knee joint. What we would like to see is his knees start to bend before his hips, and his hips stay locked. We want to see his knees start to bend, and we want to keep an eye on arms. When do his arms start to swing in relationship to his knees? So we're hoping that his knees will start to bend, and then his arms will start to swing after. But what we see here is early arms, and then a lot of hip bend instead of knee bend. We sure would like to see that the hips tucked under more at that moment there. We really got him behind, and that's going to almost always lead to that, where you can see head and shoulders swinging right in that critical moment when you're fully dropped. Then you get this big shift off with the head and shoulders there instead of staying and letting those arms, because what we really like is for the arms to sweep all the way around with the head and shoulders stable, but what you're seeing here is a lot of movement away. Okay, so that's just in the takeoff, that shoulder swing. Now, where is, obviously we would really like to see those arms all the way up straight in line with his body, and they're clearly not, gotta say it. Now, where is this young man looking? As his knees come up into that tuck, you're going to see his eye line starts to rise. And as he gets further along, oh my, he's looking way back there. Now, what we're trying to figure out is when does he grab his tuck and where is he looking at that moment? Because great divers are staying stable through the shoulders, right through here, and they're watching down and back for a lot longer than this. So they're still looking back this way at this moment as they start to come back for the tuck. And what that allows them to do is to get into a much smaller tuck position earlier. So look at how far his trunk has rotated by the time he finally gets into a tight tuck. He's all the way to there. He could be in that tuck sooner. He could be smaller, and he could be straighter up for sure. And what that would allow is for him to be done with the dive sooner, and there's still some room in that tuck. Not a lot. He's pretty tight in that tuck, but that head down position would allow for the knees to come right up into the tuck. Now, let's take a look at his kick. So here he goes. It's as he spins around, we want him to use his eyes to look for this spot right here on the bottom of the pool, right? The bottom of the pool, right directly, well, I guess that's not, it's basically straight below him. Better to think of it this way. He should be looking right there on the water as his first indication that it is time to kick out. So he'll see straight down. His chin should be a little more down. He should see it right about now. And then, as he starts to kick, we want him to be totally focused on unloading his legs in a direction, right, without moving his head or his chest. But what we do see is somebody who really wants to get their hands and their head back on the water safely. So he's in a little bit of a rush to get back to that lineup. What happens? Well, if the hands move toward the entry first and the head moves toward the entry before the legs come out, you're going to get this arch and swing past. So he ends up going long because of the order that his body unfurls at the time of kick out. So a couple of things to reiterate here. Well, let's finish talking about that come out, because we do see, again, we would like the hands to stay down on the body line as the body kicks, right? Stay hands close to the body line on the thighs, and then that path to the water, again, is somebody coming out and around that way, and it creates even more arch and pull on the bottom. So we want to see knees and hips come out, hands stay down, eyes stay on the feet, and then look back for the water, and then slide the hands up. And that would allow him to have control of the entry. Okay? So there it is. We got to watch out for that body alignment in the setup. Heels a little higher, belly tight, hips tucked under. Then you've got to watch out for that butt back and shouldering on the start. Watching the board as you tuck. Watching your legs as you kick. And then lining up close to the body for the entry. And that's a back 1.5 tuck. See you at the pool.